Let it start recording. Yeah. So today we'll talk about little advanced topics, and I hope you all can see the screen which is shared. You can see. So we'll talk about the flight controls. So before going to the flight controls, I want to know you from all, what are the primary flight control surfaces? What are the primary flight controls? Answer it quickly.
Sir, rudder pedal.
Flight control surfaces.
Sir, elevator, rudder, ailerons.
Okay,
Flaps,
fine.
slats.
Any other answers? Senior cadets, I'm asking to you all. What are the primary control surfaces?
Sir, ailerons, rudders,
Okay,
and
okay.
elevators.
Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Okay, so there are three primary control surfaces: ailerons, elevators, and rudder. Along with that, throttle is also considered to be a primary controls. And flat, spoilers, trim tabs, these are all comes under secondary control surfaces, because even without the secondary control surface, the aircraft can fly. It is not mandatory, but it gives the stability and better control of the aircraft. Okay. With this, we'll move ahead. We'll talk about a few aspects here. So as we have told, the primary control surfaces, ailerons, rudders, and elevators. These are the hinged surfaces which are at the rear of the spar of the tailplane. Okay. So now here is a question. If a stick moves forward, what happens to the elevator? Elevator goes down or goes up? The question is, when a control stick is moved forward by a pilot, what is the position of an elevator? Elevator goes down or comes up?
Elevator
Goes
down only,
down.
sir.
Okay.
Down,
If the
sir.
elevator goes down, what happens to the aircraft?
Sir, pitch down.
It is pitched down. And when the stick is moved backward, then what happens? The
So
elevator
pitch
will
up, right?
go up. When the elevator goes up, then the lift at
Pitch
the
up.
tail section will go less, and then the aircraft will enter into pitch up position. This you all know. And this is the diagram which is shown here. So when the control stick is moved forward, what happens? The elevator from normal, it will come down and lift is created. So it will nose down. If it moves up, then the lift is reduced at the tail section and the aircraft will pick up the lift. Let us talk about the ailerons. Whether both the ailerons work simultaneously in the same direction?
No, sir.
Then,
Sir, if one is right, then another will be left, sir. Then I mean
so both the
down.
ailerons, okay. So both the ailerons will work simultaneously but in the opposite direction. Okay. So now here is a question. When a stick is in the left position, what is the position of port side aileron and the starboard side aileron? And the stick is in the left of the pilot.
Left aileron goes up and right aileron goes down.
Okay. Any other answer? Or same? Yes, it is correct. So when the stick is full left, then what happens? The ailerons on the port side will go up and the starboard side will come down. So that will create the lift on the starboard side, and the lift is reduced on the port side, so it will roll left or bank left. The same thing with the stick at the right side. So as you can see here, so when the stick is at left, so aileron has come down here and here the aileron is up, so it is rolling towards left side. Now rudder, when the left rudder pedal is pressed, what will happen? What will happen when left pedal is pressed?
The aircraft moves left, sir.
Aircraft moves left. That's correct. So basically what happens is that the rudder moves to left and the aircraft also moves to the left, so that we can see from this. So now here the right pedal is pressed and rudder has moved to right. So what happens? The camber is increased and the lift from this direction, that is from the starboard side increase of the tail friction, then what happens? The turn right and likewise on the left side. Okay, so control characteristics is all depends on the size and shape of the controls and the movement of arms distance from CG, that is center of gravity, and deflection angle. All these control characteristics depends on how much it deflects, how much ailerons or elevators or rudders will move. That deflection defines how much it should move the maneuverability of the aircraft. And also there is something called EAS, that is effective airspeed square. So the variable parameters are only this, that is at how much angle you deflect ailerons, uh, this rudders or elevators, and also the effective airspeed. What is the effective airspeed that the aircraft is flying at? These are the basic definitions in terms of mathematics. So additional force, it depends on the effective airspeed square, and the moment is defined as, we know the formula, that force is distance, and here the force is nothing but the effective airspeed into displacement. So displacement is nothing but the deflection of these the hinged surface. So these are the three basic primary surfaces. Now let us talk about the advanced aircraft a little bit. So what are these? The small wing kind of structure. Can anybody tell me? Which is the front near the cockpit. Can any cadet point out? Cadet, my question is, what is this part? The small wing. You know it, you tell me. If you don't know, don't know. I need answers. Don't make me to talk to your laptop. I'm waiting for your answers.
Sir, canard.
What is the function of canard? Who is it, Kiran? Who has answered?
Is
So canard is the correct answer. So this small wing, we call it as canard. Can you give me an example in which aircraft you can see the canard? Does the Rafale aircraft has canard? We just find it out. So basically it is to provide the additional stability and to increase the angle of attack. So this canard helps in the greater angle of attack. Okay. So if you see this, this is a delta wing, and in this delta wing structure of aircraft, there is no separate elevator. There is no elevators or horizontal stabilizers. It is now connected to this main wing itself. And now these backside structures, this flaperons and stabilizers. So this is flap plus aileron, and this is elevator. So it's all together. It will control, and here these are the leading edge. This is for the performance. Okay. So whatever it is written here as S, these are the secondary surfaces, and these are the primary surfaces. So rudder for yawing. So we have the rudder here. Again here the canard is the primary surface. Now if you look into the conventional structure, then we can easily point out. So this is a horizontal stabilizer, this is elevator, this is rudder, this is a vertical stabilizer, main wing, and this is ailerons, flaps. And flaps is at the front, and here just before these flaps there is one more this thing. This is called as spoilers, also called as speed brakes. Okay, so this is the basic structure. So these are the connections through cables which controls these surfaces from the cockpit. Anyway, so at the transonic speed, if we talk about the transonic effects, the influence on the tailplane is very effective, but whereas when we talk about the supersonic speed, the effectiveness of this tailplane, decreases. So shock wave formations on the surface, on the control surfaces, it is created. So then what happens is that the reduction of angle of attack of the tailplane and reduction of dynamic pressure on the tailplane. Compressible effect, if we talk, then supersonic speed. So shock wave formation, the pressure cannot penetrate upstream of the surface, and the rearward shift of CG, that is CP, the center of pressure, and effect of flaps type surface in the supersonic flow is limited to the area downstream of wing surface. So this is the S wave which is formed, and there is shock waves, and there is no effect of these movements of this elevators. So that is why these are combined. So elevators and ailerons are combined, and that is called as elevons in a delta wing. And rudders plus elevators are combined, and that is called as radiators or V-tail. So V-tail planes also we will see, where rudders and elevators are combined. And tail plus ailerons is equal to tailerons. And flying slab, all moving, tail, and that is V-tail. So elevons, as we have seen, so elevon is nothing but the combination of the ailerons and elevators. So combine the ailerons and elevators at the wing tips. And tailless aircraft with so here in elevons, so stick back will rise both the surfaces and stick only to the side. So we can see in this Tejas aircraft, in the Tejas aircraft we don't have a separate stabilizer. So we have ailerons plus elevators, which works as ailerons as well as elevators. And radiators, so basically it's a V-tail structure. It looks like a butterfly. So this is the example of the V-tail. So we have the two here. It is not the vertical stabilizer now. Now it is a kind of a V shape. We have two V butterfly type elevators. It is ailerons, sorry, not ailerons, elevators plus rudders. The ailerons, no conventional ailerons. The tail plane is arranged and fitted in differentially to be used as an aileron. It means there is no horizontal stabilizer. This entire section will move up and down. So this is aileron. Okay. But high max speed, the elevator loses its effectiveness. So to overcome this, the tailplane is made to control the pitching. The entire pitching is controlled. Now, if you see the Sukhoi aircraft, there is no horizontal stabilizer. It's a completely elevator itself. So this entire structure will move up and down. Okay, because as we have seen in this previous diagram, at high speed, if you see in this diagram, when the shock waves are created, then at high speed there is no effect of this movable part. Okay, so this entire section itself is made as movable. Okay. So this is a flying tail. Next, VI tailplane as an alternative to additional to trim tabs. So high mount tail planes, that is T-tail. So T-tails you can see in most of it in a transport aircraft. Because in the transport aircraft, the wing size is, the surface area is too huge than the turbulence which is created by the main wing that will affect the normal, tail plane. So that is why the tail plane or the elevators are kept, the elevators are kept high from that airflow so that it can provide a significant control. And it retains the effectiveness even at high angle of attack. So that is why most transport aircraft has this. So next we'll talk about power control. The greater precision of controls, magnitude of control, the design point, rigidity. So there are two types. One is the power assisted and power operated. The power assisted, only a certain portion of the additional load fed back to the pilot, and hydraulic system overcomes most of the load. For example, so this is nothing but the power assisted means, so when the weight of the aircraft, when the aircraft is loaded heavily, then the weight has to be distributed equally. Otherwise, the center of gravity, the CG, is moved either to the front or to the of the aircraft. So then the aircraft has to adjust while flying, and this is done by hydraulically. Pilot has some neutral feel in this case. So this is a kind of structure which is there, which adjusts the load control of the aircraft. So basically the wing position changes. So the normal wing position, when it is there, when it looks at the cross section, basically the the angle is changed so that it can fly at a level. Here none of the additional loads on the control surfaces lead to the pilot. So all this entirely looked after by hydraulic systems. So this is a power operated. So power operated, here pilot has to do nothing. So everything is looked after by a hydraulic system where it manages the the balance of the aircraft. The CG is maintained. The requirement of the power controls: performance, responsiveness, stability, irreversibility, safety, and reliability, good power to weight ratio. So basically, when it is controlled by a pilot, then artificial feel system, then variable gearing, trim systems, all these are not required. So basically, experience feels by forward speed, force, and flight envelope. I will not go in much in detail. not talk about this. Okay, so that's all are the advanced topics. So I just don't want to discuss it all. So you just understand the functioning of these combined surfaces. That is elevators plus ailerons, we call it as elevons, and rudders plus elevators equal to rudder, rudder weighers or V tail, and tail plus ailerons is equal to ailerons, and flying uh, and T tails, these things. Now tell me, what is the purpose of flaps? Let's have a question and answer session.
So it gives additional lift.
When?
So during takeoff and landing.
Okay, fine. So it gives additional lift during takeoff and landing. What are flaps?
So it also increases lift and it increases the angle of attack. It mainly uses during maneuverability.
Okay, that's correct. So slats are mainly used during maneuverability. Now, for example, if the aircraft is, in pitch up or pitch down, basically pitch up itself and pitch down. So additional lift need to be created. So at that time, then slats are used. It might be a fixed flat or powered flat. So it gives the additional lift during maneuverability or during angle of attack. Okay. So what is the angle of attack? What is AOE?
It is the angle between chord line and relative wind.
Correct. It is the angle between the chord line and the relative airflow. What is the chord line? Only one cadet is answering. What about other cadets? What is the chord line?
So it is an imaginary line which joins the leading as well as the trailing edge of an aircraft.
Correct. What is the angle of incidence? Anyone?
Sir, angle of incidence is the angle between the chord line of the wing where the wing is mounted to the fuselage.
Your answer is partially correct. Any other definition? It has to put across in the right way. It is almost correct. Slight correction is required. Any other answer? So angle of incidence is the angle between the chord line and the longitudinal axis of the aircraft. Okay. Fuselage is also fine, but a preferable term is longitudinal axis. Okay. What is banking?
Change of direction, sir.
Change of direction. So rolling is also called as banking. Okay. And what is the stalling? What is the stalling angle?
It is the angle above which lift cannot be further generated.
And the aircraft enter into stalling condition. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's correct. Okay, so there is nothing much today. So we just thought we'll give some additional topics. So next class we'll discuss some more topics. Right? So I'll wind up the session. If you have any doubts or any clarification, we can discuss. Otherwise, we'll wind up. Anything else?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, in this stalling angle, do we have any particular degrees? And if
Yes.
we do have, based on what are they decided, sir?
See, basically, for an aircraft, manufacturer defines the stalling angle. At what angle it will enter into stall. Basically, 15 degrees is considered to be a stalling angle. Example, I share the screen. So what happens? This is the cross section of the wing. Okay. So here, this is the aerofoil shape. So air is coming in this direction. So this is your angle of attack, and the smooth flow of aircraft above the wing and below the wing. It is happening, and at the trailing edge, both the air above and below the wing meet. So when angle of attack increases, it means this is your airflow direction and this is the chord line. Then the angle theta gets increased. When the angle theta gets increased, what happens? The air which is flowing above the wing is not meeting the air which is flowing below the wing, and the turbulence is created. Okay. So this is the turbulence. When the turbulence is created, what happens? The lift cannot be created by the wing and it enter into stalling condition, and this angle at what sudden change means an angle of attack is nothing but the sudden change in direction of the chord line. So how much you can suddenly increase, that is normally 15 degrees for fighter aircraft and others, so the angle of attack is much higher. So I just want to show you that slide. Just hold on. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Now if you see this graph, the x-axis is angle of attack and the y-axis is the coefficient of lift, means how much lift it can give. Normal wing can have a maximum angle of attack up to say 15 degrees. Above 15 degrees, what happens? The coefficient of lift starts decreasing, means the lift gets decreased. Okay. The critical point is just 15 and just beyond the 15 it drops. Now, angle of attack can be increased with wing plus slat. If we add with slat, what happens? It is going up to 25 degrees. It means you can have a sudden change in the steep angle up to 25 degrees. Still, you can able to generate the lift. Okay. So, hope I made my point here.
Yes, sir.
Any other doubts?
No, sir.
Any other cadet has any doubts? Okay. If there is nothing, then we'll wind up the session.